What is time? No, don't say 12:30. I mean, what is time itself? This is a big one. We take time as a basic standard of keeping organised in the world, from working at certain times to basing our health on how much time we spend exercising. We take it for granted. But why does it always move forward? Does it even move forward? Get ready, we're putting our minds on the matter of time. Let's begin with some physics. What does time mean in terms of science? Newton, as always, spelled out the obvious by claiming that time is an absolute all over the universe, so the rate of flow of time is constant. Einstein threw this in the bin in the 20th century. His theories of relativity showed that time is, well, relative. Firstly, special relativity shows that time passes slower as you travel faster. This means that if I sent my twin off at light speed on an intergalactic holiday, by the time he came back, I would suddenly be much older than him. General relativity showed that gravity affected time as well. The stronger it is, the slower time passes. This means that time is intimately connected with space, and this then formed the concept of a 4D space-time rather than keeping space and time separate. Let's progress this further. Why does time always move forward? The problem is famously referred to as the arrow of time, and states that whilst physical equations like Newtonian physics are time symmetric, that being that they work in either direction, reality shows that there is an asymmetry, since glass can shatter but then cannot be reassembled. Entropy, which is a form of disorder in reality, provides the current leading explanation for the arrow of time, and can be seen in the second law of thermodynamics. This is that entropy in an isolated system tends to increase over time. You can think of this law as how dye mixes into water and becomes more mixed, but it can never be unmixed. This means that we can distinguish the past and the future in terms of low and high entropy. Why is this not 100% perfect? Well, why was the early universe low entropy anyway? Physics explains the increase in entropy, but why was it in such a low state to begin with? If science has shown that time isn't constant, does that mean it's some sort of social construct? Time seems to be related to our emotions to some extent. After all, time flies when you're having fun. Whilst that's the case, the short answer is no. Time exists beyond our concepts, beyond our clocks and calendars. Consider a dog. That dog learns roughly what time it is based on his hunger levels. My dog goes crazy around 5 p.m, since that's when dinner is served. So even without the actual concept of time, animals can use it. So that means time must exist beyond us. But is the time we think of the only time that exists? Let's assume there is a God out there who is omniscient. This omniscience suggests that God knows everything from past to the future. Famous philosophers Stump and Kretzmann distinguish between 3 types of simultaneity in time. That is, ways that things can be in the same time. Firstly, T-simultaneity. This is temporal simultaneity, and this is your normal concept of time. So if my birthday is on the 5th of April, and the 5th of April is also the day I have an exam, then my birthday and that exam are T-simultaneous. Then we have E-simultaneous, eternal simultaneity. This is now looking at eternal presence. So for example, in God's eternal present, all events are E-simultaneous, since they all occur within God's present. Finally, we have ET simultaneity. Basically, 2 events are ET simultaneous, if and only if event A is eternal and B is temporal, or vice versa. For an observer Bob, who's in a unique eternal reference frame, A and B are both present, such that either A is eternally present and B is observed to be temporally present, or vice versa. And finally, for another observer Jim, who is in a unique temporal reference frame, A and B are both present. The TLDR of this is that if A and B are ET simultaneous, one is timeless and the other temporal. Applying this to God, we find that God is ET simultaneous, with events in the temporal present. What this shows is that our normal notion of time and present may not apply to everything. God may have a completely different sort of time to us. Having looked at some mind-boggling philosophy, let's bring it back to some scientific cases of time acting strangely. For example, the almighty black hole. For those of you who have not heard of a black hole, firstly, where have you been for the last century? But basically, these are the result of very, very massive stars collapsing under their own gravity with such strength that not even light can escape them. Black holes are rabbit holes of unknown mystery, but the one thing that maths has shown us is that time acts very strangely near them. Do you remember what Einstein's relativity says about gravity? The greater the gravity, the slower time acts. This means that at black holes, time slows significantly. So if your buddy, Tom, decides to jump into a black hole, you'll see him seem to slow down until he's barely moving. Tom is still moving, and probably getting spaghettified to be honest, but for Tom, time is very slow. It's very possible, in fact, that if Tom were able to turn around, he would be able to watch millennia of the universe go by as he slowly travels to his impending doom. This phenomena is called time dilation and shows that time can be distorted massively in these strange places. Having explored the shenanigans of time, from the science of black holes to the distinctions between the types of time compared to God, it seems that time isn't as simple as it first seemed. I hope you've enjoyed exploring the unnecessary with me. I'd love to see some debates develop from this video, so if this has inspired you, go out there and do some research, find some more niche theories and flesh them out. In the meantime, keep wondering, keep questioning, and keep putting your mind on the matter.